Okay, so I'm going to shoot a quick video showing you how to import data into Stella. Well, one way you can do it anyways. Turns out there's a lot of ways you can do it, but I'm trying to focus on the simplest here. So I figured what I would do is, since you've got an assignment AS4, which focuses on, among other things, at the tail end, predator-prey relationships, I thought I'd look for a classic data set, data from Hudson Bay, on hair and lynx. And so I did a search for that. And I did a search with XLS in the name, hoping that I would find actually an Excel file of it. And unfortunately, I didn't. I think you can find lots of CSV files for lots of different data, but I'm looking for a particular data set. So what I did find is a stack exchange here, which has actually, this is the data I'm looking for here. And I thought, oh, I'll click on the CSV file and I'll find the CSV data. But actually, what it takes me to is this messy looking thing here. But just to show you, even when you have data that look this messy, it's not actually that hard to grab them. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to grab all this stuff here. And I'm just copying it, Control copy. And I happen to know that it's sometimes easier to edit data in Word initially, so I'm going to open a new Word document, just paste that stuff as raw text, and it looks terrible here. But what I know from experience is if I just select all that stuff and I go up to Insert Table and convert text to table, and I put in, I actually entered this recently, so it'll give you a bunch of separators. For some reason, it's using these semicolons to separate things. Normally, that wouldn't be selected here. But since it's using semicolons, I'll stick a semicolon in there and go OK. And it's going to turn that into table data. And that's closer to what I need for Excel. Now, it's kind of a little bit of a mess here because they have monthly data and yearly data. I only actually want the yearly data for lynx and hair. So I'm going to select these first three columns. And I should be able to just paste this whole mess into some sort of spreadsheet. So I'll do that. I'm going to open Excel. Let me get a new file, just a new blank file, and I'll paste that. And maybe I'll paste special as just straight up text, so it won't include any formatting. And what you're going to see is actually I have the data I want here. Now, this data set seemed to have data for hares when there are no lynx populations, and I'm kind of just going to filter out data. And this got a little bit there in the 1850s when it has both of them, but I'm just going to nuke. I'm deleting that stuff. This is just one missing data point, so I'll leave that. And then it seems to have data for the end of the file when it doesn't have data on anything, so I'm going to nuke all that data too. Again, you guys are probably finding good, clean Excel files to download, and so you're not going to have to do any of this. I'm just showing you this stuff for the heck of it. But I have now created a file that has year, it's got hair, and it's got links in it, and I'm going to save that file. Save as, I'll put it in my downloads folder for the heck of it. And I'll call this thing, I already have a different file I downloaded. I'll call this Hudson Bay Hair and Links 2. And I'm just go ahead and going to keep it as an Excel file. You can import CSV files just fine to Stella, but I'm just going to, it's happy with Excel files, it turns out. So I'm just going to save it with that name. And so that's a file that has been saved to that folder. Okay, I'm going to just close this thing now. And it's not going to let you import an open file, so you do actually need to close it. And I'll go ahead and open up, this is actually another version I imported already. It's actually a slightly different data set, but I'm just going to, okay, so I'm going to create a new file. Control new will give me a new Stella file, I think. Okay, so I got a new file. I'm going to create something called hair and something called links, and these names have to exactly match what you've got in your files. And I need to do a bunch of other things here, which is I need to make these graphical functions, and to do so, I will click on this. I need it to be in equation editor mode, and I'm going to type time in here. What I'm doing right now is quite analogous to the variables that are in your population model. All of those input forcing have time as the thing here, and then they are declared to be graphical functions. So I click on that little graph there, and then I'm going to click on graphical, and it is now declared as a graphical function. And there's this little caution mark went away, and I'm going to do the same thing for links. Time, make a graphical function out of it, and then it's okay. And I'm going to need to specify the time period of the data that I'm working with. I'm going to have to specify the years in order for it to import. So let's see. Hudson Bay data. I'm just trying to see how that data was organized. It goes from 1897 to 1935. I'm closing it. I'm going to have to go to time, run specs, and I want this to go from 1897 to 1935. And this needs to be in years. And it is important that the time units match, because it's trying to match the data in my spreadsheet. And my data has a column that's titled years. This needs to say years. I have hairs. This needs to say hairs. I have linkses. This needs to say linkses. So I think what I can do now is go in the model menu to import data. And I need to browse and find that data, and I don't want to be in a document library. I've got that data in downloads, and let me sort by date here and see if I can find that thing. Yes, here that is. Okay, open. Okay, so it's got that here. I don't know what it's doing in the background here. I think I want to do load, and I think I want to do continuous, and I think I want to click import. And it says that it imported it. And let's see if it actually did that. Well, you can see it did something because these guys have goobers on them now. Just to graph this stuff and see if there's data in there. So I'm just opening a graph pad, and I'm going to add my two variables. And moment of truth, I'm going to run my model. Click on this. Oh yeah, right. I just imported that data. So that data is all in here now. I don't know.